It is early morning on December 11th, 1978. John F. Kennedy International Airport is quiet. Cargo buildings sit under fixed industrial lights. Most of the city is asleep. Inside one warehouse, millions of dollars in cash are stored behind locked doors. This money does not belong to a bank. It does not belong to a government agency. It belongs to Lufthansa German Airlines. The cash has arrived from overseas. It is waiting to be moved by armored truck later that morning. At this moment, no alarms are sounding. No police are present. No one outside the building knows what is about to happen. The Lufthansa cargo terminal is a single-story structure on the edge of the airport. The walls are concrete. The hallways are narrow. Fluorescent lights hum overhead. Night employees follow routine procedures. Guards make slow patrols. Everything appears normal. But the routine has already been compromised. A small group of men knows the layout of the building. They know which doors open at night. They know where the guards stand. They know how long the cash will remain inside the vault. This information does not come from surveillance cameras or blueprints. It comes from people who have worked inside the system. Outside the terminal, vehicles move slowly along service roads. The airport's scale hides movement easily. Engines idle. Headlights are kept low. Timing is precise. What is about to occur will become the largest cash robbery in United States history at that time. More than $5 million will be taken without triggering an alarm. No shots will be fired. No suspects will be arrested for the crime itself. The robbery will leave behind restrained workers, an empty vault, and almost no physical evidence at the scene. In the months that follow, the crime will lead to disappearances, murders, and long prison sentences, none of them for the robbery. This story is not about chance. It is about access. It is about planning. It is about how a major international airport, operating normally, becomes the site of a crime that law enforcement will never solve in court. This is the story of the Lufthansa Heist.
In the mid-1970s, New York City faces high crime and financial pressure. Organized crime groups control parts of the city's labor unions, trucking routes, and airport operations. John F. Kennedy International Airport is one of the busiest cargo hubs in the United States. Large amounts of cash move through the airport every week. Lufthansa German Airlines operates a cargo terminal on the north side of JFK Airport in Queens. The building handles international shipments. Some of these shipments include cash transported from Europe to the United States. The money comes from currency exchanges, military contracts, and American businesses operating overseas. The cash is stored temporarily inside the Lufthansa cargo building before being transferred to armored trucks. James Burke is a known associate of the Lucchese crime family. He operates mainly in Brooklyn and Queens. He has a long criminal record that includes hijacking and theft. Burke is not a made member of the mafia, but he works closely with Lucchese members. He's known for planning large theft operations involving trucks and cargo. Henry Hill works with Burke. Hill has access to information from airport workers and union contacts. Through these connections, Burke's group learns that large sums of cash pass through the Lufthansa cargo terminal. The money often stays overnight in the building's vault. Martin Krugman is a key source of information. He's a regular gambler and has debts to Burke. Krugman has a contact inside the Lufthansa operation. This contact provides details about shipment schedules, security routines, and vault access. The information confirms that millions of dollars in cash are stored at the cargo terminal during certain nights. By 1978, Burke is under pressure. Law enforcement attention is increasing on hijacking crews. Burke needs a final large score. The Lufthansa cash shipments represent an opportunity unmatched by previous thefts. The location is fixed. The schedules are predictable. The inside information is reliable. The idea of robbing the Lufthansa cargo terminal develops gradually. It is based on financial need, access, and timing. The individuals involved already have experience stealing from airports and trucks. The robbery is seen as possible using existing criminal skills and contacts. This environment sets the conditions for the planning of the largest cash robbery in American history at that time.
Planning for the robbery takes place over several months in 1978. James Burke coordinates the operation from locations in Brooklyn and Queens. Meetings occur in apartments, parked cars, and bars connected to his crew. These locations are familiar and controlled environments. Conversations are brief and focused. Burke assigns roles based on experience. Thomas Monteleone, a trusted associate, helps organize manpower. Angelo Sepe and Louis Cafora are selected for logistics and disposal of evidence. Robert McMahon, a former Lufthansa employee, provides internal knowledge of the cargo terminal. McMahon understands shift changes, door locations, and alarm systems. Martin Krugman continues to act as an intermediary. He relays updated information from the inside source at Lufthansa. This includes dates when large cash shipments are expected, especially currency flown in from West Germany. The money is confirmed to be stored in the vault room overnight before armored pickup the next morning. The crew studies the layout of the Lufthansa cargo building. The terminal is a single-story structure with loading bays, office rooms, a break area, and a secure vault. Access points include employee entrances and loading doors. Night staffing is minimal. Guards are unarmed and follow routine patrols. Vehicles are selected carefully. A Ford Econoline van is chosen for transporting the cash. A U-Haul truck is prepared for moving larger containers. Both vehicles are stolen ahead of time and stored in Queens. License plates are altered. Interiors are cleared to allow fast loading. Weapons are limited. The plan relies on control, not violence. Handguns are carried to intimidate guards. Duct tape and rope are prepared for restraints. No masks are used that would slow movement or impair vision. Timing is critical. The robbery is scheduled for early morning hours when cash is in the vault and staffing is lowest. December is chosen due to heavy holiday currency transfers. December 11, 1978 is identified as the target date. Burke emphasizes speed and silence. The goal is to enter, control staff, access the vault, load the money, and exit before any alarms are triggered or outside patrols notice unusual activity. By early December, all participants understand their roles. Vehicles, tools, and information are in place. The plan is ready to move from preparation to execution. The robbery begins in the early morning hours of December 11, 1978. At approximately 3 a.m., the crew arrives near the Lufthansa cargo terminal at John F. Kennedy International Airport. The area is quiet. Cargo operations are minimal. Exterior lighting is fixed and industrial, illuminating loading bays and access roads. The stolen Ford Econoline van is parked close to the employee entrance. James Burke remains off-site. The on-site crew is led by Thomas Monteleone and Robert McMahon. McMahon approaches the employee door. He signals the night workers, claiming to be there on official business. The door is opened. Once inside, the crew moves quickly. Firearms are drawn. The workers are ordered to comply. No shots are fired. Employees are gathered into a break room. They are restrained with tape. One supervisor is forced to guide the crew through the building. The crew proceeds through hallways toward the vault area. The corridors are narrow. Fluorescent lights remain on. Footsteps echo against concrete floors. The vault is accessed using information provided by McMahon. The alarm system is bypassed before it can be triggered. Inside the vault room, the crew locates stacks of cash and additional containers of valuables. The money is already bundled and packaged for transport. The crew loads the cash into containers and moves it through the hallways to the van parked outside. The loading process is methodical. Each member carries specific loads. The van fills rapidly. The entire operation inside the building takes approximately 1 hour. Throughout the robbery, radio silence is maintained. No external interference occurs. By around 4:30 a.m., the crew exits the terminal. The van leaves the airport area using service roads. No alarms sound. No immediate police response is triggered. The Lufthansa cargo terminal remains quiet as the robbers disappear into Queens. The robbery results in the theft of approximately $5 million in cash and additional valuables, including jewelry. At the time, it is the largest cash robbery in United States history.
Complications begin shortly after the crew leaves John F. Kennedy International Airport. The primary issue is the handling of evidence after the robbery. James Burke orders strict instructions to avoid attention. He demands that vehicles and clothing used during the robbery be destroyed quickly. The Ford Econoline van is taken to a garage in Brooklyn owned by John Gotti, a captain in the Gambino crime family. The garage is located on East New York Avenue. Burke expects the van to be crushed immediately. This does not happen. The vehicle remains in the garage longer than planned. Inside the van, investigators later find forensic evidence. Fingerprints are recovered from the steering wheel, door handles, and interior surfaces. This becomes one of the most damaging mistakes connected to the robbery. Another complication involves behavior after the crime. Several members of the crew begin spending large amounts of money. Purchases include cars, homes, and luxury items. These sudden changes attract attention from law enforcement and criminal associates. Tension increases within the group. Burke becomes concerned that loose talk or cooperation with authorities could expose him. Martin Krugman continues to pressure Burke for a share of the proceeds. Krugman has knowledge of the planning and believes he is owed money. Burke sees him as a liability. Between December 1978 and early 1979, multiple individuals connected to the robbery are killed. These deaths include Thomas Monteleone and Angelo Sepe. Law enforcement later links these killings to efforts to silence participants. The murders reduce the number of witnesses, but increase suspicion around Burke. The stolen money also creates logistical problems. The volume of cash requires laundering through multiple channels. This process is slow and risky. Some funds are hidden in homes and businesses. Other portions are never accounted for publicly. By early 1979, the robbery itself remains unsolved, but mistakes, delayed actions, and internal distrust begin to unravel the secrecy of the operation. The crime is no longer invisible to investigators.
The investigation begins on the morning of December 11, 1978. Lufthansa employees arrive for regular operations and discover the restrained night staff. Port Authority police are notified immediately. The cargo terminal is secured. Officers document the scene and separate witnesses. The Port Authority Police Department takes initial control. The Federal Bureau of Investigation joins the case within hours due to the scale of the theft and the international nature of the airline. Detectives photograph the vault, hallways, and employee areas. No forced entry is found. This confirms the use of inside knowledge. Investigators focus on employee access lists. Work schedules, key assignments, and recent personnel changes are reviewed. Robert McMahon becomes a person of interest due to his familiarity with the building and recent financial behavior. Surveillance begins on known associates. The abandoned Ford Econoline van is recovered from the Brooklyn garage. Crime scene technicians process the vehicle. Fingerprints are lifted and matched to known criminals, including Thomas Monteleone. Fibers and tape fragments are also collected. These findings link organized crime figures to the robbery. The FBI and New York City Police Department share intelligence. They monitor known hijacking crews connected to the Lucchese crime family. James Burke is identified as a central figure, but no physical evidence places him at the airport. Informants are questioned. None provide testimony strong enough for immediate arrest. Financial investigations begin. Banks report unusual cash deposits. Large purchases made without loans are flagged. Surveillance teams follow suspects to homes, bars, and businesses in Brooklyn and Queens. Meetings are observed, but conversations cannot be legally recorded at that stage. By 1979, the investigation remains active but stalled. The stolen money is not recovered. No charges are filed directly related to the robbery. However, law enforcement continues building broader cases against individuals connected to the operation, using other crimes to apply pressure. The Lufthansa heist remains officially unsolved, but the investigation shifts toward long-term prosecution strategies rather than immediate arrests.
In the years following the robbery, no arrests are made for the Lufthansa heist itself. Law enforcement never files robbery charges against any individual directly connected to the crime. The case remains officially unsolved. However, several participants face legal consequences for other crimes. In January 1979, Robert McMahon is murdered in Brooklyn. Investigators later determine the killing is intended to eliminate a witness with direct knowledge of the robbery. In 1982, James Burke is convicted in New York State Court for McMahon's murder. He is sentenced to a lengthy prison term. That same year, Burke is also convicted in federal court on separate narcotics charges. These charges are supported by testimony from former associate Henry Hill. Hill becomes a cooperating witness for the federal government in 1980 and enters the Witness Protection Program. His cooperation strengthens multiple organized crime prosecutions, though it does not lead to robbery charges in the Lufthansa case. Martin Krugman disappears in early 1979. His body is never recovered. Law enforcement concludes he was killed due to his involvement and knowledge of the robbery. No one is formally charged in his disappearance. Other crew members, including Angelo Sepe and Thomas Monteleone, are also killed within months of the robbery. These deaths further limit the availability of witnesses and evidence. The pattern supports law enforcement conclusions that internal silencing occurred after the crime. John Gotti, whose garage temporarily housed the getaway van, is questioned but never charged in connection with the robbery. No admissible evidence links him directly to the planning or execution. The stolen money is largely unrecovered. Investigators estimate approximately $5 million in cash and additional valuables were taken. Only small amounts are ever traced through financial investigations. Most of the proceeds are believed to have been laundered or concealed permanently. James Burke remains incarcerated for the remainder of his life. He dies in prison in 1996. Henry Hill lives under government protection for years after his testimony. The Lufthansa heist stands as the largest cash robbery in American history at the time. Despite extensive investigation, no one is ever convicted for the crime itself.